And we're live. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Joshua Harper. I am currently the writer of Disney. I'm joined here by my esteemed co-host, Jerry One Hero. And Jerry, what do you do? Why don't you tell him?
Hello, guys. I am One Hero, or Jerry, if you would. I am the writer and creator of Infinite the Journey, story I've been doing for about 3 years now. But we'll get more into that later. Just wanted to do a brief introduction of who I am. And appreciating Josh for starting this up with me and giving me the boost to want to do this. It's going to be fun.
Awesome. So we're here today. We're just doing a podcast. We're talking, and we're like, yo, I want to get together with some people, and I want to talk about ideas. And Jerry said, yeah, that's exactly what I want to do. And so that's why we're here. We're here to talk about our ideas. And we thought a really fun one to do in the beginning would be inspirations. What inspires us? So that's really what we're here to talk about. Sorry if we're a bit unprofessional. I've never done a podcast before. I don't know about you, Jerry, but I am really looking forward to this. So why don't we get started? All right. So my question today for you, my big question is, and this is the overarching theme for this current podcast, is what inspires you? So I'm going to throw the ball to you at the beginning. What inspires you as a creator?
I think about that question every day because I have to wake up and realize that I've chosen to create as my journey, my path. So for me, it always has been and always will be to change the fate of others, to be inspired. For people that feel like they can chase their own dream, they don't know what they want to do. To feel like that. My sister, for instance, she loves food, but she didn't know that she really wanted to pursue that path until she seen that I was inspired by wanting to create, to inspire, to change the world as a dreamer, as a visionary person that wants to share my thoughts, my dreams, and my imagination with the world. Because I would love to other people that are in my shoes that didn't have that thought process or that fire inside to want to do it, to now have the ability to do it because they've seen someone else doing it. So basically trying to light the way for others to follow the path and follow their own. That's what
Awesome.
inspires me the most, is that I'm actually trying to help other people become creative in their own way.
Yeah, awesome. No, I like to do it as well. I love it when people ask me questions. I haven't really done a lot under my belt, but it's always really exciting when someone I respect asks me a question. Hey, how would you do this? Hey, how would you approach this idea? How would you do that? And it's really fun getting that back and forth with them, where it's we're talking as creators. It's one of the great things I love about the internet is you
Yes.
live halfway across the country. I've never met you before in person, and we're able to be here and we're talking in person about ideas, and we're like, let's start a podcast, let's record some things, let's just get jamming. I love that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Get rocking. Mm-hmm. Hmm? Technical difficulties. I cannot see what's going on right now. Your screen is frozen. Okay, there you go.
Sorry. I live out in the middle of nowhere, Texas, so my internet's a bit bad sometimes. Let me go ahead and adjust my bandwidth usage. There we go. So, yeah, for me, what really gets me going, what really gets me inspired is music. I love music. I love sitting down, finding an album, and putting it on repeat, just starting from the very beginning, going all the way to the very end. It gets me excited. It gets me pumped. A lot of artists actually put in stories, do like how they structure the songs from beginning to end. And that's for me a big inspiration, is being able to listen to that music and listen to other creators create, and that's a huge inspiration to me. Kind of like how you want to inspire people by being a writer. They inspired me with music.
Yeah.
So, is there any music you like to listen to? Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Well, no, not even music. What I think is a really cool thing when it comes to music for me, and I've discussed this with friends before, literally thinking of certain stories or certain scenes, certain songs set up that stuff for you, where you're like, oh man, I'm hearing this part. This is my favorite part of the song. And then all of a sudden, boom, somebody crashes through the glass, rolls onto the roof, and is in the middle of a chase with somebody, and guns are blazing and bullets are flying and stuff like that. And it's all because of a song. And I thought that was really cool. So whenever I've decided to sit down and I'm actually writing, I'll have music playing, and it's nothing with lyrics. It's always instrumentals, and it's mainly like electronic chill, electronic pop, electronic dub music that I'm playing in the background. So that way I don't know what it does, but it's kind of like that creative muse, and it keeps me focused.
It
Because
gives
I've
you like
always
a
been that way. When I'm doing homework or whatever, I'll have to listen to music, or I can't really focus. I'll get distracted. Ooh, what's that? You know. So
yeah, it gives you like this structured flow almost of where
yes.
you're able to follow along and create with that. No, I agree completely. What music so you listen to any artist specifically you would recommend to creators? I'm curious.
I listen to the Glitch Mob. That actually is the band that pushed me over the ledge on top of anything else to create Infinite, because the first chapter came to mind from listening to the first song I ever heard from them, which was called Fortune Days by Glitch Mob. So that would definitely be a band. There's also like Midas, Avicii, so on and so forth. But I'm always listening to like electronic music. I don't listen to much else when it comes to music. So
Yeah. No, that's awesome. Yeah, for me, one of the things that inspires me is music, and yeah, I actually have some Spotify playlists I create specifically for series
same.
works that I've been thinking of. I call that playlist "I Am Trash" because it's a lot of pop music. It's a joke I have with my girlfriend. It's all pop music is trash, and only listen to hipster music. But it's good. I like it. It gets me into the zone of that's what I want to write. I want to write something with that same flavor of pop. I have another one called World, which is the one I have for Disney. By the way, you can look at these up on Spotify. If you look either of us up, you can probably see our playlist. I might actually include something in the description for this if I can. But you can see our playlist. Food for thought. Yeah. So another thing that gets me going is reading. I love to read.
It does something that gets me going.
Builds a fire inside.
Calm down now.
No, like I love to read, and I actually pulled some of the comics that the books themselves that I'm reading right now. I got Amulet. I got The Amazing Joy Buzzards.
Amulet, yeah, I've seen that on Amazon not too long ago. I thought about picking that up.
So actually,
it's like 3 books, isn't it?
So there's like a bunch of them actually. There's like 12 now, I think. But
can you hold this?
Yeah. I don't know how well my quality is.
Doesn't matter. Yeah, that's it. Yep, that's it. Amulet. Yeah, I'll be darned. I'm gonna have to pick it up now. I want to read it.
Yeah, it's really good. It's my girlfriend. She works in middle schools. What she said is that people actually use it as an intro for people to get. Graphic novels are a really cool way to get kids into reading. That's how they do it. And they said Amulet is the most popular thing. She said a lot of the school libraries she's been to don't have a hard time keeping it in. Like as soon as it's in, another student's got it, and as soon as that student returns it, it goes back out. So. Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one to read. Jeff Smith, who really likes Amulet. He's the writer of Bone, which is another really good one to read. This is a classic. It's got that Tolkien feel in comic form. So that's another one I'd recommend. And then as a Joy Buzzards, which is this really cool image comic. It ran for 2 volumes worth, and it is bananas. I'll read you the description here really quick. So, warning, you are holding the first volume of the world's greatest rock and roll supernatural adventure banned with a mythical Mexican wrestler. If you do not want your socks rocked off, please put this volume back in its place and slowly back away. Everyone else, let's jam. So that's another one of the ones I'm reading right now. I really like that. I picked that up as a research for a project, and I fell in love with the first issue, so I went out and bought the volume, and man, it is really good. Really recommend that. So, Jay,
that was one hell of a description.
No, yeah, it's great. I love it. Do you read anything?
Right now I haven't. I was kind of honestly like in a rut for a while when it came to creativity, but the last thing I read as far as comic wise was Monstrous. I try to stay away from that stuff in the beginning because I don't want to get tagged on as like some bandwagon writer, because once something new comes out, everybody's like, oh my God, it's the best thing possible. I gotta read it. So then it's like, I'm just curious and I want to read it. I enjoy stuff like that. So that was the last one I read. I'm big into like the whole independent webcomic scene. So there's a lot of things I've actually been checking out on there too. And I think earlier today, one of the comics that I found that I thought was really cool, I forget the name. I think it was like Fate Zero or something like that I read. And Fate Zero or something, it was about a kid that the world ended because of basically some kind of galactic attack. Some blue thing came down, hit the earth. They had to get away to kind of like Titan AE.
Yeah.
And yeah, something like that happened, and then it starts off with the protagonist. The cool thing about that story was just the characters alone. They really took some time and spent time developing the characters and crafted them into being very well-rounded individuals that were just more of instead of one-dimensional, they were like 2-3 dimensional characters. Even the antagonists and even some of these side characters had depth too. So I thought that was another really cool thing.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. No, I know Monstrous was really popular with my comic book store.
I Hate Fairyland is awesome.
You hate Fairyland? I hate Fairyland. I've not heard of that one.
Awesome. Yes. Oh my God. Scotty Young. He draws like the little chibis for Marvel. He drew like the little chibi Thanos and everything. Man, yeah. Hilarious.
Yeah.
Definitely recommend checking that one out too.
But what's it about? I'm curious. I've not heard of this one.
Oh, basically, I forget her name. I think it's Ingrid or something like that, and Astrid or Ingrid. But she loved the fantasies, things like that, and she was walking around her room one day and ended up getting sent to Fairyland, kind of like Alice in Wonderland. But she got sent there, and when she was sent there, she ended up being stuck there for over like 30, 50 years. So you can imagine staying as a little 5, 6-year-old girl, but in a 30, 50-year-old mindset on the inside. So she's swearing and mother fluff this and fluff that, and the violence, the humor, the comedy, the action, it was all like well worth it. I'm like, this is when you really get to see independent creators break out of that shell of being of a publisher saying, do it this way, do it that way. Don't do this too much. Don't do that. He was like, you know what? I was under Marvel's contract for so long. Now I can let loose and do what I want to do. It was phenomenal to see, and I really love seeing that from independent creators.
No, I'll have to go ahead and check that out. Speaking of independent creators, one of the guys I wrote down is the next question was, name some people inspire you. What are some creators that inspire you to do things? And for me, one of my favorite creators is, I believe it's pronounced Heiko, but he writes a comic called A House Divided. And it's this cartoony vibe. I think I've told you about this before, but it's this cartoony vibe. It's got that Adventure Time, Pendleton Ward feel. And it's about this girl whose parents die, and she grows up and she inherits this house from her wizard uncle. She gets to the house and she sees it's just massive. It's absolutely phenomenally huge. And there's a war going on inside the house. There's people in there trying to find the treasure. And as she goes in, she gets in there and she says, oh, well, look at my house. Look at all this stuff. And then these raiders come in and kidnap her right away. And she is about her trying to find, like, what's going on in the house. What's happening here? And that's one I love it. I found it Tapastic. If you download the phone app, they recommend you read 5 web comics a day. It was probably one of the first ones they recommended.
Yeah, the daily snacks.
Yeah, daily snacks. And it was one of the first
3 o'clock on the dot. They do not miss a beat. Every time my phone buzzes, I'm like, oh, so who's texting? Daily comic snack. Never mind.
Daily comic snack. No, it's. I honestly recommend downloading the Tapastic app for the daily comic snack. It's awesome being able to like go through all of it and see like all the different recommended ones. That's how I found Heiko and A House Divided. And they're actually doing. I think it's Penguin Studios is the independent creator studio behind that. And it's set up by Heiko and a partner of his, I believe. But I would recommend it. It's really good. If you follow me on Tapastic,
Forever Zero is what it's called. Forever Zero.
Forever Zero.
Yeah, my camera sucks. Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say Fate Zero's a manga, I believe.
Yeah, it's called Forever Zero.
Yeah, I'll go check that one out.
I didn't even subscribe. Let me subscribe. Support comics. Support indie creators.
There you go.
Yeah.
Now I'll go check that out on your reading list. But no, a non-independent creator that inspires me though is the writer of Batman, Scott Snyder. I love his work. He's one of my favorite writers, and inside the studio, he's really, him and Greg Capullo are just bananas. They are some of the coolest creators. They're always on Twitter answering questions should you have them. Like they'll randomly get on there and be like, "Hey, ask me questions. I'm here doing this." Scott Snyder does that all the time. He did that today, and I participated in that. Greg Capullo is always posting work in progress artwork, and they're a really cool duo. They got that chemistry, the chemistry that all creator partners they want is we're your best friends, your brothers, or your family members. You you guys are there, together till the end. You go down dying, the two of you, and that's really cool to see. I like to see that, especially outside of indie. We get that a lot in indie. You see two people working together all the time, And it's refreshing though to see it exists inside the industry as well. It's not like you have to be a sellout if you join the industry. You can still do cool things.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. It's just you hear so much about the negative side of things, or how there's so much limited by the publisher. But it's like if you go with somebody that signs a contract and says you're supposed to do things this way, you have no choice. Versus if there's an independent creator focused publisher, then you'd be good, like Image or some of the other ones, yeah. Or you can do it yourself.
Yeah. Are there any specific writers or artists you really enjoy the work of?
You know, as far as writers go, I'm absolutely horrible in saying whom, because I pay attention more to just the story itself, because the only writer I really can give credit to that I've actually liked and looked into was Brian K. Vaughan, who was the writer of Saga. What is it? We Stand Guard. So those Paper Girls, yeah, you know, so those that would be the writer that I would say. I've looked into all of the other ones. You know, Alan Moore, he was a really good one too. Because after reading The Killing Joke, I was like, I have to check this out. And then when I found out through the more research that he wrote V for Vendetta, I'm like, okay, all right. So that was another person I would say. But as far as inspiration wise, I'm out of the loop. My inspiration as far as creativity has come from just the culmination of the movies that I watched, to the anime, the countless amount of hours of anime I've put in, to video game storylines that I've seen. So it's really just been a collective of all of those, basically coming up to this big grand point of me saying, I wonder what would happen if I did it. You know, it was like a high concept story of my own life. Like, I wonder what if and then it took off from there.
Yeah. No, it's funny you mentioned Alan Moore. My girlfriend's in a graphic novel class, and the professor there, he really likes Alan Moore. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh, he loves him. She doesn't like comics that much, but she read Killing Joke, and she was like, oh my gosh, I've got to read more Batman. Mm-hmm. I've got to read more.
You have no idea how people, I mean, I know I joke around because I'm a Superman fan. I'm a given Superman fan. I love Superman, but how Batman is just like, so he's the down-to-earth hero. He is the most relatable, you know, besides like Iron Man and Tony Stark, but that only happened because he became popular in the movies. But as far as comic books go, Batman's the guy. He's the man.
He's the guy, yeah. So what gets you in the zone then? You know, talking about inspiration, what inspires you to get into your writing mood? For me, it is music, as I mentioned, music. I got my playlist I listen to. I pop one of those on. I'll actually pace around my room thinking to myself, how's this going to go? How's this going to go? How's this going to go? I'll picture the scene. I'll sit there and I'll stare at the wall for a minute. All right, okay, so I want that to happen, that to happen, that to happen. And I'll come and I'll have a little notepad I have and I'll write that down. I'll go back to pacing around. I'll think about it. And I get really into it. And that helps me. That really helps me get into the zone, is just putting on some chill music and walking around, acting out the scenes. And honestly, speaking them out loud, speaking the lines out. It helps it helps with your flow. You say things, you're like, man, that sounds really bad. I shouldn't put that into words. That is not a good thing to say. Or you'll say, that's really good. I really like the way that sounds. I like how that rolls off the tongue.
Exactly.
So that's what I do. I even have not by my desk, but I have 2 batons I have, because I like, you know, some of my characters have weapons, and I'll use that as like a baton. I'll be like, how would this look as a pose? How would I want this to pose? So that's what I do. That really gets me in the zone. You can tell I'm getting excited talking about it myself right now. So I'll calm down. I'll throw you the ball. What do you do to get into the zone?
I visualize. Believe it or not, I visualize. I will sit there and think. But see, one of the harder things for me is I'm like, I guess, an avid conceptionist or whatever. Like whatever concept can come to mind, I literally carry around a notebook with me, because there are so many different ideas that come up, and different ideas for certain stories or different things that I can refine. But for me, when I'm actually in a zone to write, I sit there and I visualize it. But then, like you said, you start to act it out. I'll literally do the same thing. Like Infinite, I cleared out my room for the first chapter, and I kind of sat there and pretended like I was KO when he was chained up, and then kind of said, well, what kind of mannerisms, what kind of swagger would, you know, the villain have as he walks up to his prey? Is he going to be like kind of hesitant, or is he going to be? So it's a more of a like I do think a lot, but then I start to visualize, and then that's when I start to act it out. So I agree with you. I'll have to piggyback off of that. That's definitely something that I do to get into the zone besides cutting on music. Because once the music comes on, then I get focused and I can get honed in, and then I can start looking through my notes and then putting stuff together and putting pieces together. But that's definitely what would get me in the zone. Just thinking creatively. When I have the time to just sit there and think creatively, that's when I just like the world is gone. It's just me and whatever's in front of me.
Mm-hmm. I think part of what I look for when I'm looking to find things that get me into the zone for writing and creating is just a visceral experience. I know that sounds really pretentious and weird way to form it, but that's why I have batons. That's why I say words out loud. That's why I act things out, is because I want to put myself into my character's feet. I'm already in their head. Might as well be in their bodies as well.
Well, you kind of want to, so you can, again, like I was mentioning earlier, make them to where they're not one-dimensional, but 3 or 2.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly, and it adds just an extra layer of depth to it. It gets you in the zone, and it makes your writing better.
Yep.
Yeah. No. Is there anything other than that you do to get into the zone?
No, I mean honestly, besides that, when it's like time to try to get into the zone, sure. But like, dude, half the time I'm at work or I'm on the go, I'm in the car, like I gotta pull over and write this down.
Yeah.
Okay, good, I got that. Or I don't have a pen. Frick. Voice recorder. Blah 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 blah. Save. Okay. Oh wait, no, forgot this. Doop. Blah 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 blah. Okay, good. Ooh, I forgot to save it. Shit. So it's just like all of those kind of things, but I'm always on the go and I'm always thinking because I got so many things I want to do in such a short amount of time. It's like,
yeah. For me, what really helps me is writing down ideas that come to my mind. A lot of stories are born from that. You'll have a phrase that pops into your head. That'd be a cool thing to say in a comic book. I'll write that down. I'm gonna save that. This would be a cool scene to have. My entire comic Dizzy, I got from a dream I had. And I'm not gonna spoil it because I actually want to implement this into a comic later on. But I had yeah, but I had this one action sequence in my head. I didn't know these characters. I had no idea who they were, what I wanted them to be. But I had this dream of the sequence, and I was like, that'd be really cool to include into a comic at some point. And lo and behold, it led to the creation of my, I guess, first comic, Dizzy, which you can check out online right now.
Is it on?
But just some character stuff. In a couple of weeks, I'll be releasing some stuff.
Teasing this.
Tease, yeah, such a tease. But yeah, no, writing ideas down, that helps me get focused on writing, and that gets me excited. It gets me pumped. It's like, oh, I want to write about that later. Put that into my little idea jar. Leave that for later. And when I need to get into the zone, pull one out. Oh, that's cool. I'll do that. So that's one of the things I do. So what happens if you get into a rut, though? Let's say you mentioned it earlier. You were in a rut. It's like every creator's worst nightmare is falling into this funk. So what do you do to get out of it?
When I got into this recent rut because of stuff not going right or just being overwhelmed, I searched into everything that I was going through for motivation, for inspiration, to see if it can connect to a story that I had, creatively. I try to think outside the box as far as, okay, I'm going through this kind of struggle. What is it relative to? So this in particular is pretty cool that I say that you brought this up. Recently going through the month that I went through with family issues, issues at work, trying to struggle with, focus on going into work with someone else when I really would rather be at home creating or following my dreams instead of working for someone else's. It was a hard time for me on top of, like I said, my family issues. So I related to my favorite anime protagonists. And it was weird that I did that because they're part of the motivation and inspiration to write anyway. You got your favorite protagonists and things like that. So I'm like, I'm going through all of these struggles. Who handles it best? And I'm like, okay, a protagonist, Monkey D. Luffy. The was it the Marine? No, not the Marine Ford. When he tried to get Nico Robin back. And he was getting beaten. Rob Lucci was beating the brakes off him. And the only thing I could think of was when he was about to fall out and Usopp said, Luffy, fight. And then he just thought about his friends and all of the reasons for why he was doing it. That bounced him back. He bounced back up took the punches and then kept going. So that time it was able to instantly connect to my why. So whenever you come into a rut, I think one of the key things you could ever do is to think of your why. Why are you doing this? Why did you wake up? Why did you want to start in the first place? Because if your why in here is strong enough, dude, you can move mountains to get out of your way, to get back to doing what you want to do and what you love. So it's like, if you love it, if it's purely a part of your soul and in your heart, that's something that you can always do because your why. So like my why was to inspire, to change the world, to create, to be the dreamer, to be that visionary. So it's like when those things start coming back up, that blood starts pumping like Hulk Hogan. It's like somebody hit me again. Oh, hit me again. Oh, hit me again. All right, you're in trouble now. I'm coming. So it was like that big push. So that's really what I would narrow it down to. And long story short would be my why. It's what pulled me out of the rut, and it always will. No matter how long it may take.
For me, it goes as well. Yes. Oh, sorry. Sorry, I thought you're done.
I'm done.
Yeah, no.
Sorry.
For me, no, it's for going back to inspirations. Is for me, it's music. You know, music is what saves me, and it's a similar thought process to yours. It's why. Part of the reason I usually get into a funk is like, why do anything? Why am I here doing this? I'm an independent creator, and let's be honest, most independent creators don't go far in the world. They're independent. You know, independent creators usually flame out. Unfortunately, that's the sad reality. So for me, it's like, why am I going to create if that's going to be my ultimate fate? Why am I going to why am I going to create? And what always helps me is music, specifically a band, Streetlight Manifesto. And they're this ska, punk, jazz, Latin rock band. That's a lot for a band, but they got trumpets.
Wait, run that back. Say it again.
Ska, jazz, punk, Latin rock band.
Ska, jazz, punk, rock, Latin band, whatever.
Oh yeah.
That sounds like something straight out of Scott Pilgrim.
They're good. I like them. A lot of their music's about, you know, a lot of uncertainty. A lot of it deals with, well, what happens, you know, a lot of it's a theme of God, for instance, but a lot of it is uncertainty. And part of it, what he says, you know, in his message that I interpret anyway, is, you know, what's the point in fighting for anything if there's nothing there at all? But I'll go on anyway. I'll keep fighting. I'll keep doing what I can because I am me. That is who I am. I'm going to keep fighting. And for me, it's a reminder that there's always something to fight for. At the very end, I am a person. I have my beliefs. I have my what I want. Yeah, that's my why. You know, that's exactly what I want to do. You know, and that gets me going. I'm like, man, I'm depressed. I'll put the music on and get that blaring loud rock music in my ears. I'm like, let's do this. And it inspires me. It's what is worth fighting for is what gets me thinking. It's I want to create. I want to do these things. I'm never going to be able to do it if I'm always moping about. So let's get to it. You know, another thing that I think really helps me is going to conventions and meeting people. I've been to a couple conventions, and you know, you get to meet really cool people there. Everyone says go to conventions, and you should. You should go to conventions. You should spend the $50 or however much it costs to go to your local convention and meet creators, meet these people, and just sit down and talk with them. They're sitting at booths. They've got booths there, and some of them might even want to partner with you to do a booth. Excuse me. I know people at my comic book store. You know, they come in all the time. They're pretty big around here. You know, and people come to them and they're like, hey, do you know people that want to do booths with me? And they'll be like, that person over there wants to do a booth. That person over there wants to do a booth. You guys talk. As people do some really, can you hear me? There you go. Sorry, I broke up there, I think. Yeah, no, they connect people and they do things. That's really cool. And you just go in the conventions and meet people. I actually went to PAX South recently. I met Rami Ismail, I think is his name, or Rami Ishmael. He makes Nuclear Throne a video game, and he's a really cool dude. He actually signed a T-shirt for me. I have the last one of these. It's framed right over there. Yeah, but no, you know, and meeting that was an inspiration. This is this guy from Sweden who creates independent games, and he says people said you can't do it, but you can do it. This is how, and that's exactly what I want to do. So, no, go to conventions, meet people.
Yeah, and that's another thing that I think is very, very key to me wanting to truly do it, was that I had to sit down, research, and see what really is involved when it comes to the life of an independent creator. And it's like, if you really want to do this, are you really cut out for this? Can you really make that move, that adjustment? And after looking it over, I was like, well, I'm slacking. I need to spend this next year, 2016, to check off some of those things off the checklist and make those check those milestones of going to a convention, and seeing what you can do, seeing if you can connect. Like even going to the comic book shop, like I just completely had a brain fart that Wednesdays are new comic book day. So I'm like, I could be going up there, looking up new comic books, but also meeting other people that read comic books. So that way it can help just to spread different ideas and meet other people that are dreamers, visionaries, creatives, or just fans of the genre in general or the medium in general. So that's definitely key. Something I definitely slipped on. I was so focused on the internet, the web comic, that genre that I'm like, well, you know, there are tangible things in the world like real comic books and real people and real fans. It's harder to sell yourself over the internet. Hey, I'm a creator and I like your creative stuff. Let's mesh. Versus somebody in person. It's like, well, hey, dude, what do you like? You like Full Metal Alchemist, or you like Batman, or you like Marvel, DC? Yeah, you do. High five, bro. Awesome.
Yeah. No, Free Comic Book Day is probably the first event I went to where I talked with creators as a creator. I went up to a couple people. And I think I met Vo Win. You know, he's a local artist, travels around a lot, lives in Austin. And he really helped me. Like I was, I think 14, 15 at the time. And here's this guy who sits down with me and he's like, he's drawing, he drew this Spider-Man, trading card at my Free Comic Book Day event. And I'm sitting there watching him draw, and he's like, so what do you do? And I'm like, I want to make comics. I want to be a creator. And he's like, well, why don't you tell me about some of your ideas? And I sit there, I'm nervous. And I'm rattling off of these ideas.
The worst question you could ever ask anyone. What's it about? Or what's this? Like, fuck the log line.
Have ideas, and I've not really developed them. And he says, this is how you develop ideas. This is how you learn. And I didn't, I'm friends with him on Facebook and whatnot, but I've never really, personally known him. It was really cool to let have him sit me down and tell me, this is how you pitch ideas. This is how you develop them. Write them down like this. Don't just keep them all up here. Put them on paper. Save those things. You'll want those one day. And it was probably the best advice I've ever gotten. He's a really cool dude. And you should go to these events. They're free for a lot of them. There's a free convention in my town. There's a paid one as well. There's Free Comic Book Day. There's comic book stores everywhere. Meet people either on the internet like Jay and myself or in your comic book store. Meet people. Make connections. You might find one of us there.
Hey.
So after we got off on that, now, Pat, calm down. Calm my energy down. Get excited. So that's about all I have written, but are there any questions you wanted to pose?
Questions, no, but something I came across that was really two things, and I'll be done, honestly, but two things that I think are really, really cool, and I've been waiting to try to get this on video. One, the South Park writers, Trey Parker, Matt Stone, that's how I say it?
Yeah.
But they did a film school interview, like a speech. And they said if you're writing a story and you're writing your beats down per thing, your punchlines or whatever and whatnot, you're writing those down. You want to realize one thing: if you put Miranda goes to this store and then does this, the minute you put "and" is the worst thing ever. You're out of class. You're out of it. You're done. But if you go, so and so goes to the store, but the store clerk is in the middle of doing a sacrificial ritual. Therefore, so-and-so walks in and just so happens to be a demon hunter finding this, but doesn't realize that it's now opened the gateway to hell. Therefore, leading to it. You see how it's going from boom, 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 versus if you go, the person goes to the store and then they get milk. And then they get this, and then they do that, and then this happens, and then this happens. People can see it and predict it. It feels like it's just straightforward versus it being some kind of a flow. Because it's like, well, this happens, but then this happens, therefore this ends up happening. But since that happened, now this happens, therefore this, and there's just kind of like a flow. And I thought about that, and I'm like, holy crap. I can sit up here and think of tons of movies and shows that I know and love that flow, and then the ones that I'm like, I got through it, but it was this, and then this, and then this, and then this, and then this. And I was like, that's mind-blowing. Okay, point two. Talking to an older coworker of mine, he's probably in his late 60s. He's like, Jerry, there are two different people in this world. There's one who is me, who will go to the movies and spend no matter money. No, I don't care how much money I'm spending, but I'll spend it because I want to go to that movie theater to be entertained. To be entertained. So if I'm going to see the Avengers. I'm going to see Kingsman. I'm going to see Jurassic Park. I'm going to see something because it's going to be entertaining. It's going to blow my socks off. Entertaining. I'm not going to be the one to go to the movie to see Anna Karenina, Les Miserables, Lincoln Lawyer, or something like that. He said docudramas or movies that remind me of reality, I don't want to pay money for. I'll wait till that comes out on DVD and then I'll buy it. But if I'm going to go spend money, or if I'm going to sit there and invest my time into watching it week in and week out, or reading it day in and day out, it better be entertaining. And I'm like, that's crazy because you focus so much on hearing people dog stories and movies and shows about the story. The story sucks. The story was this. It lacked that. But was it entertaining? Oh, after watching Guardians of the Galaxy over again, it blah, blah, blah. But were you entertained the first time? Yeah, okay, then it did its job. And I've never thought about that you can try to relate to people through reality, through a fantasy story, or you can entertain them. And people a lot of times choose entertainment over being reminded of reality. So it's just those two, entertaining, reminding of reality. That blew my mind when I heard that. I was like, oh my God, I got to go back through and make sure all my stories are entertaining and da-da-da-da. It just opened up a whole new level for me and learning, because you live, you learn, and you grow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, I get that completely. That's one of the reasons I myself am a self-professed DC fan, because I don't like that Marvel tries to make its heroes more human. That's cool on a certain level. That's cool when you want human characters, but I read my Superman, my Batman, because I want to see someone punch someone through a building. And one thing I appreciate about DC is that they play to that strength. They play to that. We've got these otherworldly beasts in our world, and they are a different level than humans. We don't have just humans, and that's why it's so cool. Because Batman's like, everyone's so blown away that Batman's a normal person, because they're so used to having these godlike figures, and Batman's able to compete alongside them. And I like that. That's entertaining. It's just entertaining. You want to veg out, and DC does it for me. And I get completely the entertainment versus reality. And sometimes I want reality, but a lot of times I just want to veg out and entertain myself.
And there are people out there that prefer the other way around. Like there's one of my coworkers at work that's like, the Avengers is garbage, but Hotel Rwanda, now that was an amazing movie. And I'm like, I guess I'm a person that likes to be entertained, because I'm like, Hotel Rwanda, really? Like, you gonna dog that over the Avengers? But then it's like, the Avengers didn't win any awards at the Oscars. But Anna Karenina and Les Miserables, they did. And it's like, if anything that's reminded of reality, then people love it. And I just thought about that. And I'm like, well, there are two different types of the world. So that means there's two different types of audiences, which is cool. Many creators need to know that. They need to know their style, their lane. Because if you're a person that's specially going for docudramas, don't go to no comic convention saying, hey, guys, check out my slice of life. Get out. We want to be entertained, fool. We are not entertained. Thumbs down. See, handle that. So it's like you just. But yeah, so that was really, really cool, and I think that's really key. Like, for people that want to create those battle action stories, create them. They're entertaining. People love it. As a 27-year-old person, I still watch wrestling. I still get hyped up when I see the protagonist getting beat up and come up and take care of business. It's entertaining, it's inspirational, and I always recommend that goes a part of my lifestyle. When I'm down and out, how I can still come back and find a way to win. So, cliche, whatever, throw that out the window. We aren't the first people on the earth, so of course it's going to be cliche. You know what I mean? Just write it, have fun, enjoy it, and make it entertaining.
Yeah, I think overall, the big question is, when you ask what inspires you and what, and you tie this all back together, just create, man. if you're inspired by creations, go out there and create and be happy with your creations. Don't create for other people. Create for yourself first. And I'm not one of those people that's, life is about you and everything. Personal beliefs aside, create for yourself.
Hello?
Hello?
Josh, you there? Okay,
You hear me?
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah, create just create something for yourself. Be who you are on paper, in your images, in your movies, in your ideas. Be who you are. Create. You want to create the world's cheesiest bottle manga? Do it. Don't let anyone tell you that.
Dude. Just do it.
Yeah. So that's what I think is inspiration as a whole. It's something that gets me out there and gets me to do something, and that's what makes me happy. That's what inspires me, is when I'm happy creating.
Yeah, and don't second guess it. If you feel it in your heart, just jump. Just jump. Because there are a lot of people that will stand at the top of that cliff and not jump, and you have the mind to jump and build an airplane on the way down and keep yourself flying. I'm telling you, you just have no idea. That's why I wrote Infinite, man. Like, it's like, believe in yourself. Never place limits on yourself. Fear, doubt, all that, man, you can't get none of that stuff answered if you don't ever follow your dreams or just make that jump. Make it. The worst thing that can happen is you fail, but whatever, at least you can say you tried.
Yeah, better to have loved than lost than ever to have loved at all.
Yep.
Anyway, all right. So I think that's gonna close us out today. If you got questions, you can comment on the video or on the SoundCloud. Yeah, this is fun. No,
I look forward to doing. I look forward to doing these now.
Yeah,
it's really fun.
Hopefully, I can get my internet sorted sometime soon. But yeah, so Jay, where can people find you on the internet?
Again, I am Jerry, one hero. You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. But if you want to find me in the direct area, just go to tapastic.com and search Infinite the Journey. You will find it, and once you go to my profile, all of the links are there. Or you can go to my website, which is www.iamoneHero.com. Once you get those, you're good to go, and you'll be able to find me, find my story, find what I'm working on, connect with me, tell me I suck, tell me I'm awesome, whatever the case may be, I'm all for it. So it was a pleasure meeting all of you that watched this. I'm sorry, self-plug time. Infinite the Journey is in a contest. If you go to Tapastic, you will see it. GMI, Global Manga Initiative. You can help Infinite win in that contest so that you can see more Infinite if you're willing to join the journey. Other than that, that's my selfless promotion for the day. So yeah,
awesome.
Sorry guys.
Yeah, and you can find me online on Twitter. I'm Joshua13, JOSHWAH. I'll probably put that in the description. I'll probably put Jay's links in the description as well. Excuse me. You can find my comic on Tapastic. Drew this up for this special event. Dizzy, Aim and Ignite, Chapter 1. It's coming soon. Boom.
There it is.
That's all it is. That's all. That's it. Go check it out. Hopefully it's out by the time you watch this. Hopefully it's, maybe years from now it's making millions by the time you watch this. I don't know. But hopefully we can keep this going a long time, Jay. I'm hoping we can get this podcast going.
This was too much fun. We got to keep doing this.
Oh, we got to keep doing this. Anyway. All right. Well, we'll catch you guys later, hopefully with better internet. Bye.
Peace.